Okay, so apparently now they so that's how I honestly haven't really watched America's Got Talent from like the very beginning. So I didn't really know that when they get to like, you know, the finals, they they talk about like the acts they're performing, and then they take like the entire next night to tell us who advanced and who got eliminated. So, I didn't really know that, but now I do. So now I'll know for next time. So just a quick summary of people who made it on. Greg Morton, the impressionist, awesome, love that guy. The acrobatic trio, the Masudi brothers, the voices of service, very nice. Ashley Burns, she got the dunk and save. That was really sweet. Alex Dowis, Luke Islam, and Cody Lee. Those are the guys that have made it on to the next round. So, yeah. Honestly, I wanted to get that out of the way so I could get into talking about what I promised to talk about yesterday. Happy Thursday, everybody. So, I did allude to yesterday when I was talking about, the places that I want to go to for, Trinity Pauling. Uh, or, wherever I would go to when I was at Trinity Pauling. And to be honest, there was still a lot more I could have talked about. I didn't even talk about the places that were off campus. Because, town was only about maybe 3 blocks away. So, I was able to get myself some like Mama's, pizza, or if I wanted Chinese, I got Chinese. Um, let's see, there was like a couple of coffee shops and bakeries. That was really cool. Um, uh, they had, I want to say it was a CVS, but I'm not entirely, because like if you wanted, miscellaneous, grocery stuff or whatever, you had like one of those drugstore places. I think it was a CVS. I could be wrong, but yeah, but that's not what I want to get into. I want to talk about why specifically I ultimately decided to go, because it really is an interesting story, and one that, yeah, I will admit at the time I really did think it was selfish of me to do this, but on the other hand, in a way, since it led to pretty much this, I can't really complain. So it was my senior year at Horseheads, and while life during that time for me was significantly better than in years past, it certainly could have gone, better. I'll never forget I came back from a football game. I think it was the day we lost to Fayetteville Manlius, I want to say, where I get home, my parents suggest that, I go to prep school. And immediately I think, what? So, because you have to understand, if you take a PG or prep school, you're basically giving yourself another year of high school. And if you want to get college done and over with, that's kind of not what you want to do. But, and to make matters worse, Trinity Pauling was an all-boys school. I will admit, I was getting rejected left and right by girls at Horseheads, but at least that was a numbers game. I don't even have that going for me. That's pretty bad when you think about it. But over time, I thought about, my time at Horseheads, and two things really stuck out to me. One was there was always this one bully that I could never surpass, athletic-wise. I mean, he wasn't like, I'm going to take your lunch money type bully, but he's the kind of bully where, like, well, in a way, technically he was, and he would make fun of me, but, he wasn't as, like, cartoonishly bad as, like, you would see in, like, other forms of media. So I figured, going to Trinity Pauling, I'd be able to finally beat him in a way. And the other thing is, and this is the part where it gets really selfish, at the time anyway, and that is, I said, like, I was pretty much single throughout my entire time at, Horseheads. I only had, like, one girlfriend that lasted for, like, 3 weeks. And though that's all true, I did have one date to one formal event. It was actually my junior prom, actually. And, I mean, again, I never name names, so I'm not going to do that here. But I'm just going to say that the girl who went with me to the junior prom, the fact that she even said yes to me at all really makes her nothing less than a saint. I'm just saying. So, in the process of thinking about whether or not I should go to Trinity Poly and all this stuff, all I was thinking about is, man, why did she say yes to me? To junior prom? Because, I never name names, but one thing I can tell you about her is, prior to being my date to junior prom, she was actually a senior, so a year older than me, and she actually won senior prom queen. Again, how did I do that? So I thought to myself, you know what? Even though I kind of have this sense of, because I have mentioned this before, I did contemplate suicide at the time. But again, I really wasn't fully gung-ho on it. If I went to Trinity Poly, maybe I could use it to become an overall better person. Someone good enough where if I were to ask out this girl, the likelihood of her saying yes would probably be pretty darn good. At least that's what I thought at the time. And so, begrudgingly, I said yes to going to Trinity Poly. Again, both of those reasons are absolutely selfish. I will wholly admit to that. And considering that I never saw that bully ever again, nor have I ever asked out that one girl I mentioned, you're probably wondering, did Trinity Poly really make you a better person? Well, the way I see it is this. When I was at Trinity Poly, I excelled in cross country, which really is a sport that, by all accounts, I never should have excelled at. Considering that, I was a lineman I was an offensive, defensive lineman playing football at Horseheads, and, I made the top 7 at cross country, and, even won that award right there behind me. So, yeah. So, that's pretty good. And, for wrestling, I never won any great tournaments, but, I got to wrestle at nationals. So, had the opportunity to become an All-American, which, I didn't, but that's neither here nor there. So, in a way, I would like to say I surpassed that bully in those ways. Plus, in the end, when I was at Trinity Poly, I found someone who was far worse than the bully at Horseheads in question. So, yeah. In a way, I kind of owe that Horseheads guy an apology. I'm not going to apologize to him, but I acknowledge I owe him an apology. That's how bad the person at Trinity Poly was. And for those of you guys who are Trinity Poly with me, it's exactly who you think it is. As for, the girl in question, okay, and this is where it's really going to get stupid. At least in terms of how selfish I was being. When you go to a prom, you take a lot of pictures. And I actually took one of those prom pictures with me to Trinity Polling as a means to motivate me to, try and work hard and, become a better person. And at this point, you guys are wondering, A, that really is stupid, and hopefully you didn't do anything else involving that picture, which I did not, okay? In fact, I kept the picture, like, in my desk drawer. That was all I had it for. And I would look to it for, inspiration to work hard. And that's it, I swear. But, another thing is, you were doing so well and working hard to become, a better person. How come you never asked her out? Well, literally 2 weeks before I graduated, I mentioned that there was this one bully at Trinity Polling who was worse than the person at Horseheads by far. And this is true. And it turns out he had a little brother who wasn't as bad, but he was still pretty bad. So his little brother actually made fun of me. He was walking away, but his shoe fell off. So I picked up his shoe and threw it right into his face. And a fight almost broke out because of it, involving the actual bully at Trinity Poly. I ended up getting, detention for that. So at that point I thought to myself, if I was stupid enough to get myself into trouble, especially right at the end, I do not deserve to ask this girl out at all. So, yeah, that's ultimately what ended up happening. If I was dumb enough to get myself in any kind of trouble that would, likely be that bad, then I'm not good enough for her. So, I can admit to that. I can. At this point, honestly, in terms of, the girl in question, I just hope she's, doing well and living a good life. At least I hope she's doing well. I'd be very sad if anything bad was happening to her. But again, not that I would know. I mean, to put these into perspective, I'm not even friends with this girl on Facebook. I'm not. So, I really have no idea what she's doing. Or where she is, or anything. And would I like to be friends with her on Facebook? Sure. That'd be awesome. But, at the same time, if it doesn't happen, I'm okay with that too. Again, I just hope that, she's living a good life, being happy wherever she is or whatever she's doing. And that's cool. In fact, I feel that way about a lot of people I know from, a lot of the good people I know from Horseheads. And so, in the end, ultimately, I made you guys ponder the question, did going to Trinity Polling make me an overall better person? And I would say the answer is a definite yes, it did. Did it make me a better athlete than that one bully at Horseheads, who I could never be, no matter how hard I tried? I like to think so. So, I'll also give it a yes. Again, I'm not looking to, fight this guy or whatever, but, I like to think that, it made me better morally and physically, so that's cool. Now, did it make me a good enough person to ask this girl out? No! No, it did not! And I'm okay with that. Because, it proved that maybe it was never meant to be. So, I'm cool with it. A little bit saddened by it, sure, but in the end, I'm cool with it. So, yeah. Plus, in the end, I mentioned earlier, and I mentioned on, December 14th that, I did contemplate suicide, and some certain events happened that made me change my mind. So, again, considering that, things could be entirely different, considering the fact that I would not be alive to potentially make these videos, I'll take this I'll take this. Okay, I will definitely take this. Okay, so there you go. Huh? I actually started getting kind of emotional right there a little bit. Oh, it is something I have always wanted to talk about, but couldn't really convey the courage to bring it up, I suppose. I'm glad I did though. And again, it's a story I can definitely look back and say, man, I was selfish, stupid, but I like to think at the very least my heart was in the right place. I mean, again, whether or not you think I was being selfish or stupid for doing this, that's up to you. I'm certainly not going to persuade you one way or the other. But if, I hope at the very least, even if, again, you think what I did was technically wrong, at least you would know the logic and reasoning behind it. And again, if nothing else, I can look back and laugh on this story. So, I got that going for me too. In the end, I'm glad I went to Trinity Poly. I'm glad I met some wonderful people there. And in the coming months, I'll probably be seeing them again. So, there you go. That reminds me, Stone Cold Steve Austin Hot Ones. Can't wait. Looking forward to it. It's gonna get lit! Oh, it's gonna be so awesome. That's probably the first time I ever said that on camera, by the way. See, again, I'll take this over what could have been, okay? For the most part. So, like, favorite, share, hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, follow me on the social media platforms. I am humbled I made this video for all of you guys to watch and enjoy for today. I am hoping we all have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful Thursday. You ready to watch some Hot Ones? I'm going to try and see Good Boys tonight. I'll try and do a movies on that. And remember, for the years I'm a talker, I'm always going to be here to lend an ear. And I'll always have your back. Take care and make good choices.